Well, good morning, Lionhearts. We're out already on our way for an adventure. We're headed off to what's called Lima, Ohio, to the Allen County Museum. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. Well, hello Lionhearts, your old pal Jordan the Lion. We have arrived here in Lima, and behind me you see the Allen County Museum. This museum was started officially after World War II, and when they built it, they actually built it with one of the cornerstones being an actual original rock from the very first White House in Washington, D.C. Now inside here, they have a great history of this area. It's Allen County, and this museum actually takes up half a city block, so it's pretty big. Now, this town is known for, or at least this area is known for its locomotives, but inside this museum, they tell an interesting story of the bank robber and gangster, John Dillinger. So let's go check it out. I've always wanted to come here and I've never made it out here, so after 37 years, we're gonna now experience this. This ought to be quite an experience. Well, here we go. A lot of history around here. And we're gonna see quite a bit of it. See covered wagons already. Here's an old schoolhouse with the bell. Oh, that's great. The thing that I liked immediately upon walking in is on either side you have bookended a great picture of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Now if you notice on the flag, there's a few less than 50 stars up there. And just in case we have any troublemakers, and let's see what they would have been reading. McGuffey's First Eclectic Reader. Now here we're going to take a stroll into the general store. Not quite Druckers, if you know if you get that reference. Look at this. It's a coffee bean grinder, it looks like. I think they let you try it out too if you want. And then this was to weigh out the slices of cheese that you would purchase. That's what that is. You could buy a rifle for $6 back then. Get your mail here. Little peppermint sticks of candy. Get your arithmetic book here. Now we're going to get into some really interesting stuff because we had a big 1913 flood and they have pictures. You can see it says, Lima suffers worst flood in history. Thousands are made homeless when the Miami River levee breaks in the city of Dayton. Now I've, on separate trips, since I live near Dayton, I've kind of recounted this story at different museums, so go back and look up some of my old Dayton vlogs if you want to see some of what Dayton looked like. But this is Lima being flooded. You can see a barrel right there in the middle. And look how deep these poor people's homes were. It was flooded all the way up to the porch. Now here is what's called a Portland sleigh, and it's actually lined with goat skin and has ceramic foot warmers in there. How about that? And this actually belonged to a local family that settled here in the late 1800s. It's been donated and refurbished. Now this display is pretty cool because this is a depiction of what a late 1800s, early 1900s bedroom would have been, and the bed itself was actually owned by the very first man born in this county. He donated this, and what it says is that under the mattress, if you look right here, the support is actually just ropes ropes that have been kind of wound around pegs for support, and the mattress itself is made out of corn husks. Then you have his dresser back there, probably a Bible, I would guess. Water and bedpan. Now here's an old Victorian dressing case. Man, that is ornate. Look at that. And look at the drawer handles. Really classic. Now this section right here is a classic depiction of an old pioneer kitchen. You can see the wheel right here, the weaving wheel. And then you've got, you know, the old iron and dough roller and those kind of things. Gun above the mantel place. Obviously a little kid in this household because you got a crib here. And an old rocking chair. Old fireplace. Oh, look at that. It says this is a primitive nursing bottle. That little spigot coming out the side. Wow. A bona fide covered wagon. That's incredible. Just to think how many miles this thing would have had on it. The life it would have seen. Let's look inside here. Now this case is pretty interesting because it has a bunch of old musical instruments. People that donated them from the area. Here's an old guitar from 1831. Then you have a 1820 violin. Got a little bugle. You've got that, an old accordion. That's nice. Look at the horns on top. They don't make them like that anymore. This would have been strung, or a stringed instrument, you can tell. An old drum. Looks like an old war type drum, Civil War drum. With the sticks in that little holder. Now let's roam through here. Continue on with the exhibit. Here's an old lollipop scales, what they call them. You can tell why. And then this is the town square. During the automobile craze. Oh man, this is going to be interesting. Take a look at all this. This old Studebaker. Kid you not, that's an old Studebaker coach. With the name of the salesman on the side. That is pretty cool. I love seeing stuff like that. And here's an old funeral home hearse. Very classy. Look at that. It's got a casket in the back and everything. But I say classy because I see this on top and the going along the tops. Just very interesting. I've seen old hearses before, but not quite like this era. Not quite like this. Now this is interesting. These are wooden models of various houses still in this area, and you can see they actually put the address. So a virtual tour of this section of Lima via these beautiful wooden models. And they knocked it out of the park with these. Look at this. I mean, this is the McDonald house. This, you actually can tour this. See, they have a picture of it right here, but it's on the premises and you can tour it. Oh, here we have some old Victrola and old hi-fis. The old Edison player. I actually thought when I saw that name, I thought it was going to be one of those old cylinder players, but looks like that's a 78 just by the thickness. Then an old radio here. Whoa, take a look at this. It's an old NBC TV camera. A local camera. That's pretty cool to see. So if you would have been on TV, you would have had this pointing at you. And then a man who had a local TV show on that NBC station, he used to use this and called this the birthday chair for his local television show. And you can see here, the seat is still right there. And there's a picture of a little kid celebrating her birthday on the birthday chair. And then here it says, Easter Straker was the local personality who had this chair. And it says he would have the kids recite a song of some sort with other children in attendance for their birthday. Now if you read this, it says, below us are matched flintlock dueling pistols given to Washington by Thomas Turner, who was a local resident here in 1778. It says, although he was opposed to duels and never fought one, Washington accepted the pistols for their beauty and their fine craftsmanship. So these would have been George Washington's dueling pistols. Take a look at this old piano. Even the keys are like kind of warped and have a different look to them than what they have now. They're kind of split, you can see. Now this tells the story of Mount Vernon, where, of course, George Washington lived. Now, behind us, they actually have a recreation, and it's a big one, of Mount Vernon. So let's take some time to go over this. It's kind of cool that they would have this. I mean, it takes up the center of this entire room, so now it'd probably take too much time to go through every single little thing, but they have notations down here telling that, like, in every single room what's in there, like a replica of this, or what was here, this. And that would be him on that coach, the horses. Wow, I'd love to go there someday. I've never been there. And it was saying on that that little wall plaque that it was named after General Vernon. Now these are actual pages from ledger books of George III, King George III, who was George Washington's adversary during the Revolutionary War. So that's his handwriting and his signature on both. So you can see right there, GO3. Now this case is really interesting to me because from what I understand, one of George Washington's household employees, one of his shoemakers and blacksmith, was from here. So these, it says the shoemaker was a full-time employee at Mount Vernon. who in 1 year is credited with making 217 pairs of shoes and mending 199. So he would have worked on George Washington's shoes at his home with all of these tools. And then above where the tools are up here, where the axe and everything are, that's a powder holder, isn't it? Gunpowder holder. It says one might have found items such as these in Washington's storehouse, a small building north and west of the mansion's courtyard. Now over here, we actually have a goblet from the home of Martha Washington. How about that? And then up here, it says presidential buttons, Washington to Eisenhower. And then down here, it says that the button in the middle on that piece of paper, that was from a bombazine dress worn by Martha Washington. Sorry, I just said Washington like my grandpa, Washington. So that would have been a button from her dress. Now we're back over to the George Washington model, and this is actually the servant's house, the servant's quarters in the servant's house. Pretty freaking nice if you ask me. Look, it's like multiple stories, the staircase and everything. Now we're going to go around the side of the house, and let's take a look inside of what Mount Vernon from the back would look like. And you can tell it's 2 floors with what looks like 10 rooms. We'll start, there's a bedroom, one of the kids' bedrooms it looks like. Then that one actually has a picture of him in it. That would have been a hallway sitting room. Pretty cool to see this, right? I like it a lot. Now here would have been the entertainment family room. Playing on the piano, playing chess, having tea. That would have been the main stairwell. And then the dining room. Wow, that is really cool. I'm really shocked and amazed that they have this. Now here they have a little article that actually mentions the cornerstone when this was being built, that it was part of the White House. And they have that outside, so I'll show you on our way out. Now we're gonna move on to this section. Now this is really cool because a lot of this stuff here came from the local opera house. It's called the Faroe Opera House. The Sound of Music. And that's the fiddle. These would have all been used. There's a bunch of instruments, ukuleles and squeeze boxes and music boxes. There's an organ concert roller. Now this painting in here is Mr. Faroe, Benjamin Faroe, or Farot. I'm assuming it's French. F-A-U-R-O-T. Oh, nice. Nice top hat. I know somebody else with a nice top hat. Ashtray over there. Nice opera gown. Now this is cool. Here's kind of a shadow box of what the opera house kind of would have felt like going in. Did they really have Lionel Barrymore perform here? Holy cow. Oh, and Billie Burke. She was married to Florence Ziegfeld, and she was also Glinda the Good Witch from Wizard of Oz. And the great Ethel Barrymore performed here as well. The only one we're missing is John. Oh, here it says Ed Wynn. He was in some of those great old horror movies. He was a great actor. More Ethel Barrymore performances. And that would have been the Opera House. Now, I told you this place was huge, and it's huge. We haven't even made it through half of it yet. We're getting there. We haven't even made it downstairs yet, in fact. Old Ohio fire engine. Oh, cool. Old milk delivery service vehicle. Pulled by the horse. Tells you how long ago this was, when they still delivered milk to your home by horse. Now here we have an old Thor motorcycle, a 1911 single-cylinder board tracker racer is what it was called. And here you can see people racing up and down the street on it. Look at that, how cool is that? I've never seen one of these before. Made in Aurora, Illinois. Home of Wayne Campbell, Garth Algar. Number 5. And there's the original box that would have came in. How cool is that? I love it. Now here we have a 1925 Model T Roadster. Take a look at this guy. The gray leather seats. It's not in too bad a shape, honestly, you can tell. The floorboards aren't that worn out or anything. It's pretty great condition. Here's another funeral hearse. Different style, you can tell. And take a look at this old coach. And they even put a replica of a blacksmith shop in here, showing some of the old horseshoes and things that you could have put on your horse. This guy's in here tooling away.